Hey everybody, what's up from Roll, Minnesota, your state of skate. Hey, I'm Butch Lehman, and today we're in for another episode of Rolling Reactions. Alright guys, to kick off this episode, we're going to rewind it, go back in time. This is the Back of the Future episode, but today we're featuring Jeff Stockwell. Now Jeff is a skater that I know of going fast. He's also really consistent, and he does lines and flows a bowl like nobody I've ever seen. Now, today we're going to take a look at 3 of his older profiles, the first of which is actually my favorite. And that one's from the Razors video, Steal This Video. It was their AM team. After that, we'll take a look at Killerboots, which is a killer profile. And lastly, we'll turn up the heat with his section in Heat. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. I invite you for some Jeff Stockwell. It's going to be great. Let's check it out. All right, so as we step out of the DeLorean here, we'll first take it back to the Razors video, Steal This Video. Now, this was an amateur video, but it had a lot of professional level skating, and many of the pros in this video would go on to have very successful professional careers, and Jeff Stockwell is one of them. Now, for me personally, this video has a lot of fond memories. This was right when I started skating when this video came out, and my cousin Andrew and I would watch this all the time before our sessions, and it would always get us juiced to go skate. In particular, the Jeff Stockwell section, I think, is the one that we gravitated towards. It has a really gentle, laid-back vibe, which don't let that fool you because the skating is actually very high-level intensity with a lot of unique obstacles and trick selections, especially for these early days of skating. I like the 360 there. And in a moment here, we'll get a nice toe roll. It's a trick that I didn't understand back then, and I still don't understand now. It's technical wizardry, if you ask me. But anyway, Jeff Stockwell is a skater that I think is often remembered for his shadow parts, and we will see some of that later on, with the fast speed, the intensity, and really the consistency. That's probably what I remember him for most, especially in those years of those mid-2000s, 2005 to 2009 especially. It seemed like every competition, they had like a prize for the best line or the most consistency, and Jeff Stockwell was always in the conversation for that, if not on the top of the podium for that one. I like this trick too. He loses his helmet and then almost lands on it on the way down. So it's like add an extra obstacle to an already difficult disaster topsail. We got a few drop rails in here as well, and as well as a few park clips. You know, that's always been a question that I think people have is like, how appropriate is it to put park clips into a street video? And I feel like for the longest time, it's been frowned upon, and it's starting to make a resurgence where people are more accepting of that. I'll give a shout out to the Tactics video. That's the faction team. Watch that whole video. Every section was absolutely amazing, and I think that was a great blend between park skating and street skating. Check this out. The switch up into the top acid and the 360 out is just glorious on that one. That's one that's been permanently implanted into my memory. I just like the way he 360s out of that last switch up. We also have the drop kink, or the kink ledge here, the back royale, and a pud slide. It's not a trick you see very often, so it's one that I feel obligated to narrate when it comes up. And this like drifty cess slide into true top horn is another one that has always been something I've thought about. Like transferring into that, the transition would be very difficult. And the disaster into a front torque. Maybe that was a back torque. I'd have to see the approach again. Rolling down the rocks. That's something that my cousin and Andrew and I also tried to implement is, you know, we'd find these big boulders around the city as we were out skating, and we just skate down the rocks. Didn't look anywhere as good as Jeff Stockwell's, but, you know, we were impressionable back in those days. Really clean fakie 3 out of the true top horn there, too. This spot is like something out of a skating imagination. Got the big out ledge. Luke Hang out on that one. Here's a classic spot. Switching up into the alley-oop horn all the way down, revert out. Yeah, Jeff Stockwell is one of those guys that I think we look back on as having a long and successful career in the industry. And I'd like to see more skating out of him. I'm not really sure what he's up to these days. I assume he's doing something with music. I know that was always a passion of his as well. So if any of you guys know what Jeff Stockwell is doing these days, definitely let me know down in the comments so that I can have some peace of mind. I hope he's doing well, though, because like I said, he's one of the OGs of our industry. And with the DeLorean, we definitely had to make the stop back here and give Jeff Stockwell his proper reverence. The cess slide out of that is just crazy. Get the drop rail with the front farv. We got front torque cess slide. Cuts off the skateboarder in that line. I mean, you know, we give a lot of criticism to other sports for snaking us, but every once in a while, you know, we got to step up and take our own responsibility there too. Jumping up, back torque, kind of a back torque cess slide. One of the other tricks you'll hear me comment on later are the back Savannas that Jeff Stockwell does, or some of you will call it true Savannah. That's typically what I would call it. But he has ones where he just like sits in it, and it's almost like a rough true top porn star. It's really strange. I don't really know how to describe it more fully, and that is a massive drop off of that. So great way to end this section. All right, next we'll fast forward to 2005, and I realize that sounds strange because 2005 was almost 20 years ago, but this is a video that's easily in my top 10 list for best skating videos of all time, and honestly, I'd probably put it in the top 5. Had an all-star cast of characters, and Killerboots here is highly rewatchable. It has like a horror movie theme kind of uniting all of the sections, and that feels appropriate because everything gets murdered in this video. It's like a slasher film on steroids. One thing that you'll notice is this has a lot faster of a pace than the previous video, and I like how it complements the different styles of Stockwell, how we can go from Steal this video to Killerboots, one that's more slow and methodical, and this one that's just fast and furious. After coming in with the 180 gap, and then we got this weird like up rail. The mute grab out, I think, is what makes that trick. It's just so nice. And a really quick footwork on this one to land and then immediately jump back into what I think was a true spin porn star. The grass takes him out at the bottom of that landing. You'll notice this is right in the heart of Jeff Stockwell's days skating Shadows, and he had a couple different pro models from Shadow, if I'm not mistaken. And you'll see the big Shadow frame on there. I mean, those were all the rage back in the day. And I think everybody has tried the Shadow frame at one point or another, if you were skating at the time. It was just an absolute ledge slayer. Didn't quite get the maneuverability you would riding a flat frame, and could be a little bit dangerous going downstairs if you had to stair bash, but you get trade-offs in blading. I've always liked this trick too, the true top porn, keep spinning the same direction to Royale. And that one is even more wild because instead of going front Royale, it's the 270 to backside Royale. Epic 540 out of that one. Another legendary spot here. This is in California at, is it Berkeley? I think that was Berkeley. I'm not from the area, so you guys will have to forgive me if I have the spots mixed up, but definitely seen that one before. The secondary clip on this one with the plywood shaking, I think is what makes that clip, is some great camera work between the two angles. Coming in really fast to that second stair set. If you notice, he gaps it by an extra like 5 feet. Watch him hold this ledge. This is a really long ledge. And did you see how tall that was to start? That was a jump. Another trick I've never really understood, the like fakey 270 into the back Savannah, or the full true Savannah if you want to call it that. You know, I'm really good at wrapping my legs in a number of tricks, but that one is one that I really can do. So a lot of respect for that one. 3 topsoul. Watch how much speed he has on this S rail too. Like, this rail looks really fun, but I feel like we're not really getting the whole magnitude of how deadly and how fast that rail would actually be. But it does look like it'd be a fun spot to skate. Alley-oop top horn to back farv, revert out. Wall rides. That's something else I haven't really commented on from Stockwell, but he has a number of like legitimately large wall rides in the sections as well. And there's a really great one in this next video that we're going to watch in the Heat video. And I think it might actually be his ender clip. But anyway, speaking of ender clips, we've got a 3 set, and he just keeps spinning. You know, if Dory from Finding Nemo was just keep swimming, Jeff Stockwell is just keep spinning. All right, we got one more stop for the DeLorean today, and we're going to take it to 2006, which is still quite a ways in the past. But this is the Heat Team video, and I believe that the Heat Team was a wheel company. You guys will have to correct me if I'm misremembering this. It's been a while ago, so I could be mistaken. But Jeff Stockwell is going to start this one off with a big back farv and run right into the fence. And after that, we're going to go with some rails, and we'll get a couple angles on this one, but these 90-degree transitions are tough to skate, and he'll take it into a topside torque sole, which is a trick you don't see all that often, to be honest. And he's putting his consistency on display here, switching, taking a line into the true spin sole. Really nice on that one too. I love spots like this. I wish we had more things like this in Minnesota, but it seems like all the good like drainage ditch area spots are reserved for the southern states, and for the western states especially, so a little bit jealous of that, but, you know, we have our own good spots here too, I guess. Take some speed going up to the top side of the ledge here. Look at this Soyal. The second angle, I think, really does it justice. You can see how pointed that knee is on it. Putting a lot of trust into the backslide foot. And for any of you that haven't done many Soyals, that really is the secret to it, is you just got to trust the backslide foot and work the other foot in there. So it's just a matter of like how you distribute the weight. Look at this drifty mute grab 360. That's a trick I always appreciate. I love to see some big airs and some transition style tricks. And when you can do something that lofty, it's always going to look good. Another ledge spot that's been skated quite a bit. I know this one was featured in Hyphy, and I believe Jeff Stockwell had a few clips in there as well, but putting together 3 tricks back to back to back, like I said, it's that consistency that you'd expect to see in these mid-2000s from Jeff Stockwell. And skating a bull, there's nobody out there that does it quite like him. He just has flow that I never really understood how people can skate bulls like that, but he'll throw the little hand plant flip there at the end. Another interesting spot here, and there we go. We brought the picnic table back, so we're full circle back to the Steal This Video days. Wall ride over the wall rail. Nice rewind on that one. What do we got there? Gapping over those extra stairs. What are those extra stairs even doing there? Like, why? I guess I don't really understand the point of having those down at the bottom. I mean, I suppose to a degree you just have to work with the architecture that's given as the person designing, as the actual architect. Still seems like a weird spot for stairs, though. All right, Jeff, how many tricks are you going to do in this drainage ditch? I mean, seriously. Save some for the rest of us. By the way, look at this camera work. Like, how is this person filming this clearly and this much stability following on that narrow ledge? Doesn't make sense. Whoever was filming that one deserves a raise. Look how tall that jump is. The fish brain into backslide. Really cool camera work on that as well. Get the cross grab. Get the pud slide. True spin. Oh, look at that gap. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. That was a true spin mistrial earlier. I got distracted. That happens sometimes. I see a squirrel and, you know, I got to look at it. Really tough line on those 2 rails. That 270 to backslide is not an easy trick to link up after doing, what was the first one, a 3 topsoul? I don't even remember. Long back royale here. You can tell that Jeff is in his element at this point in his career, and he was just crushing it and put out so many different video parts. Look at this ender. Wall ride to true spin Mizu on a curved rail. It's so good. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Rolling Reactions, featuring the DeLorean taking us back to watch some vintage Jeff Stockwell. As I was saying earlier, Jeff is one of those early pioneers of the sport that when I look back and think of people that were influential to me as a skater, he's definitely on that list, and I think he's on that list deservedly for a number of reasons. Not only was he really innovative with his skating and had that style and that consistency, but he's able to put together different parts that showcase his personality and his flow in different ways, whether it's one of the slow pieces like the Steal This Video section, or one of those faster paced videos like Killerboots, or a section there in the Heat video. Any Jeff Stockwell section, you know he's bringing the goods. Anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I'm Butch Lehman of Roll, Minnesota, reminding you all to stay safe, stay healthy, and get out there and do some rollerblading. We'll see y'all with the next one. Until then, peace.